Hello, everybody. My name is Theo, and we're here with Jose, Jay, James, and Ross, and we are BraInsight, here to give you brighter insight into today's topic: mental effects of social isolation.
Yeah, thank you very much, Theo, for the introduction. So that's exactly what we're going to be tackling for our first episode of BrainSight. Uh, we are approaching our third glorious anniversary of the COVID-19 pandemic. Could we give ourselves a round of applause? Okay, so yeah, we're approaching our third year of the COVID-19 pandemic. It hasn't really been super fun so far. The first year sort of went out of control. We're sort of getting it under control right now. But we're gonna be talking about our, psychological consequences of that. So COVID-19 pandemic, it caused a mass quarantine throughout the globe. Everyone had to self-isolate, and humans being social creatures, we like talking to each other, we like interacting with each other, in a physical space. This hasn't been like not super healthy or super mentally sustainable for a lot of us. Uh, and the COVID-19 quarantine caused a lot of problems like social isolation and loneliness. Those are two concepts that are often uh, put together. They coexist with one another, and they aren't really the best side effects of going into a lockdown, since they're linked to depression, irritability, an abundance of negative thoughts, and 26% increase in the risk of premature death. So that's not super good. Not super good. Loneliness has been increasingly recognized throughout the scientific community as a public health issue due to the many detrimental effects it has on our physical and mental health alike. Loneliness is often associated with feelings of emptiness, sadness, shame, alongside the uh, perception that we are disconnected from the rest of society. That no matter what we do, no one will take notice of us. That kind of sad stuff. Not very fun. But to lighten the mood, what have you guys been doing throughout the COVID-19 pandemic to
Well,
sort of
I've
you
been,
know
yeah, yeah. Well, I
you
have
just go.
been playing basketball with my.
Mm,
I've been playing basketball. Been playing American football. I've been spending time with my family and my pets.
what about the rest of you guys?
Well,
Well, I've been actually been introduced to another sport, which is boxing, so that's good. And I've been into less sporty hobbies like sewing and leather crafting, for example. And yeah, I'm spending time with family and less time with friends, of course, but more time with family now since I'm just at home.
Okay, really good answer actually. James Marty Uya, what do you have to say?
yeah. Uh, as Ross said, it's important to spend time with your family members, maybe your friends then, if kaya. Pero, most of the time, when I'm alone, I usually just like to play video games. It's not the most healthy hobby, pero it's a fun one.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
How about you, James
Uh,
Matthew?
Well, like all of you, I've also been spending time with my family kasi nandito tayo sa bahay. We can't really go out. It is in the midst of the pandemic. Pero, aside from that, I have been playing guitar and reading new books as hobbies to keep my mind off the situation. And honestly, it's been pretty fun.
mm, Yun nga, on the topic of, not getting to see other people, like in a physical space, that's like one of the things I really, like, that's one of my gripes with the pandemic. Like, we don't get to physically interact with people. Like, it's fine, getting to talk to people online, virtually. Like, we see each other's faces right now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Pero,
It's kind
like,
of
it's like
better.
there's something missing. You can't really do like other things with them. You can't really walk with them, interact with them, smell them. That's one of my other gripes. I can't tell if any of you guys took a bath or not, and that's making me really uncomfortable.
Well, you see, speaking of taking a bath, there was this study I came across that was related to showers, and they said that if you feel cold or lonely, a hot shower may make you feel less cold or lonely. It's like you can relate temperature or like internal temperature. You can feel more cold or hot based on your thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, smooth transition by the way.
Oh yes, I got you. Also there is this, speaking of cold and hot showers, but mainly the cold. There's this movie that I really really like, Frozen. You see, in my opinion, it's the best Disney movie of all time.
Mhm.
And it just so happens to be related to our topic today, isolation. And this was in Frozen 1, okay? And there's a princess there named Elsa
Mhm.
who has magical powers, and she is able to make things out of ice, like out of nowhere. And when her parents first realized that she had these powers, they got scared, right?
Mhm.
In fact,
Yeah.
in her first emotional outburst with those powers, ice came out of the walls in her room, and her parents were there, but they wanted to comfort her. They wanted to show that they cared for her, so they went to hug her. But she turned away. She turned them away because she didn't want to hurt them.
Mhm.
And what the king realized, that King Agnar, her dad, realized that it may be safer to keep her away from other people. So he shut the doors of the castle and he kept her contained in a room.
Mhm.
And later in the movie, we see isolation has affected her. For example, there was this snowman Olaf that she created to be a friend to Anna and her. And the first line that she made Olaf say was, "I like warm hugs." And we also see in the future, like in the rest of the movie, that she hugs herself, like before she sings the song "Let It Go," after she isolates herself from society, and when she turns her sister away after she makes the castle in "Let It Go," because her sister wants to bring her back to society. But after she realizes in her isolation that being there for other people allows her to support them, allows her to care for them. And it's good both ways, not just her helping them, but if she needs to seek help, they can also help her. She decides that it's better to be with other people. And that can definitely be related to the topic now. It's I just find a very nice connection between these two topics.
Oh yeah.
It's a very
Yeah,
Nako.
interesting correlation,
that's
diba?
Yeah.
that is true. Speaking of rooms, very isolated rooms, do you guys know about white rooms?
No, I have
No,
never heard of
no,
those.
Well,
no, no.
white rooms, terrible. One of the worst isolation practices that's being used right now. And these white rooms are actually enhanced interrogation techniques wherein everything is white. Like the room, the bed, the clothes, even the food, man. And the only thing besides white is probably the poop stains you find on the bathroom brick. Because, like, the
I
toilet
see.
paper is white. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But,
probably not the best place to be in.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's probably not the best.
Probably not. And if you get anything dirty, it's just gonna be there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be
It,
very obvious.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But, like, you know what the point of all this is?
No.
There are no stimuli, like, inside the room whatsoever. No distraction for the person inside. And, like, that's how it messes with your mind. It makes you grow insane. And like one of the prisoners said, they wanted to have more severe punishment, like even just getting beaten up for going insane and like having their mental health deteriorate inside that room, and it's just such a bad thing. It really does like hurt your mind a lot. But like here's my question, guys. So kung napunta kayo sa isang white room na yun, like what would you bring? Like what sort of distractions would you do that is not connected to the outside world whatsoever?
Uh,
Hmm.
so this is in like the white room now. Like let's say like if we're in the white room, how big would it be? Like what is the like
Well,
what size of things could we bring?
it's probably like just four. Oh wait, no, no. Like as big as this room. I don't know how you can tell, but it's pretty big. Um,
Okay, okay.
so you can like bring something as like 7 feet tall, siguro. Like that's the max height that you can bring.
Well,
So
No.
I'd probably bring a basketball hoop and a basketball to keep myself entertained because that's how I keep myself sane right now in this.
Okay, okay.
How
Yeah,
about you,
like
Ralph?
Uh,
Theo, I would like Theo. I would also entertain myself with sports since that's what me and Theo have in common. We like sports and outdoor activities. But since this is indoor, I'm gonna have to go with bringing a pair of boxing gloves and a punching bag, so I could entertain myself by just punching the bag.
I see.
mm,
It's like
ikaw
keeping
naman,
yourself
James Marty
fit.
Uyo.
Yeah, James.
Yeah. So, you guys like to entertain yourself using conventional sports, right? Yes,
Yeah.
boxing,
Yeah.
yeah.
basketball. Well, you know that apparently jumping is 3 times as efficient for burning calories than running. So I would like to bring a
Ah?
trampoline.
Hey.
It's
Wow.
sobrang
Sige,
I did
pwede,
unconventional,
not
diba?
know
pwede.
that. I did not know
Yeah,
that.
and
Well,
I think it would be more fun to jump around
Yeah.
Yeah,
instead of
yeah, it
punching.
fits
yeah.
7 by 7 perimeter.
Mm.
I see.
Yeah,
I
yung
see.
perimeter. That's just the perimeter. How tall is it?
Uh, I don't know actually. We might have to uh
Do some
What if it's
do
just like a
calculations.
some
really tiny,
yeah
it's just a really
modifications.
tiny trampoline.
It's
Yeah,
just
just a really tiny trampoline.
sure that
Yeah.
might work. That might
The
work. How about
second
you, Rafa?
might
What did you bring?
oh uh,
No, no, he's still going to say
Oh
his
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Go
the
second.
second
one more
Yeah,
item,
guess.
go, James.
it might be a med kit. Kasi in case I accidentally
Just in
slip
case you
and
fall off
break
the
my
trampoline.
legs. You have to be prepared for every situation, diba?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, actually, now that you said it, I was going to say I would bring like a treadmill for running since there's not a lot of space. But a trampoline, yeah, yeah, trampoline is much more fun. So I guess I'm gonna go with that. Then maybe like a journal, like a notebook. I'm guessing the pencil comes with it.
It
Unless I'm
should,
just
it
gonna
should.
do like origami or whatever with the notebook paper.
Mm.
Uh,
And that can also be a form of entertainment.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, ikaw naman, Matt.
Okay, as for me naman, I as I said earlier, I brought my guitar. I play my guitar. I will bring my guitar and a few songs so that like I can keep myself company with like these composers' music inside my head, and like I can just sing it to myself because I it's like they're here with me without them actually being there with me. And it's putting some voices in my head, para it's like it's not just me thinking about other things but also thinking about the melody, the notes of the song and stuff like that.
And nga, it's nice to keep yourself busy na.
Yeah, it does.
Ayun nga, it helps distract you from like the super duper white room.
Hmm.
Ah,
Yeah.
James
Well,
Marty Uyaw, do you have something to transition?
yes. I'll try to make this as smooth as possible. So kung
Alright, alright.
feeling isolated ka rin sa tiny white rooms, I have a feeling that you can also be isolated in the vast emptiness of space. Well,
Mm,
here's one example of an astronaut that I think is very interesting. He's called Michael Collins. If you know Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, the two guys that jumped on the
Yes, yes,
moon or doing triple
yes.
cart
Mm-hmm.
I'm
flips.
sure almost everyone knows them. Yes.
Yeah, there's the third guy. He didn't come down to the moon with them. He was actually managing the spaceship to make sure that they could all come back home to Earth safely. And I think he's the real MVP of the whole mission, the Apollo 11 mission. Well, yeah, normally you'd be pretty bummed out kasi the moon is right there. You can almost see your two astronaut buddies having fun, diba? Pero instead of focusing
And
on that,
especially
yeah, he
and
just
especially
focused on
knowing
how.
that
Sorry, Ross, you go.
and especially knowing na no na your two buddies are making history. They're the first people to be ever on the moon, and you don't cut the list. Even though important yung job ni Collins, parang nakakapanghinayang din eh. No?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah,
you can
how a
continue.
bummer.
Pero yung mindset niya talaga, it's, I think, a mindset that everyone should have. Instead of focusing on yung parang nakakalungkot na sobrang fun outside, you're stuck inside the spaceship. He focused on how just the things around him, no? How cool the spaceship was. We can technically also do zero gravity tricks inside. Well, not really. It's
Mhm.
just me thinking what he would do. Pero yeah, he actually said that in an interview na not the super cool tricks. He just said he focused on having fun inside the ship instead of how lonely he was.
Mm,
Seems flexible situation.
Like, it's good to find the it's good to find the good in the little things in life because it can help you
yeah.
get through many things. You know,
I
it
mean,
gives you a
at
Yeah, I
least
little.
he
wouldn't
can,
have. Yeah, I
yeah, at
wouldn't have
least he
been
can
able
say
to
he
do
got
that.
close to the moon. At least
Yeah,
at least he can say that he got close to the moon,
He got
which is
close
more
to the
than
moon, but
what
he never
most
got on
people.
it though. Okay,
Yeah,
wait.
but that's more than what other people could say about them. I mean, how close have you been ever on the moon, to the moon, di ba?
that's true.
He's also no, he's also one of the people to be closest to the moon. So that's already history there.
I guess so. At least he was one of the three super important people that went to the moon, even though he didn't go
Mhm.
on.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of the our topic, is the mental effects of social isolation. The space is vast, and you could feel a bit lonely, especially with Colin's situation, being on the spaceship for I think for a whole day, right? Because he he went around the moon and went back to his friend after about 24 hours to pick them up. But that's I think partially not by his choice, because I think he just happened to have the technical um technical
Oh,
capabilities and knowledge to operate the spaceship, and the actually the only option for among the three astronauts to stay on the ship and maintain the ship. Now, what I want to talk about is, have you ever heard of the Japanese term Hikikomori?
no.
Well,
Well,
there's this one video on YouTube.
I yeah. Most people have been made aware through YouTube videos in the recent years. But for those of you who don't know, hikikomori are people who shut themselves in and isolate themselves from society voluntarily. Unlike probably Colin's situation, because tingin ko si Collins kasi medyo napilitan din siya magstay sa ship. Probably because siya lang yung may degree in maintaining the ship, and siya lang yung pwedeng mag-maintain a ship. So wala silang choice. Kasi without him, di rin sila makakabalik, di ba? Now, yung mga
Mm-hmm.
hikikomori, the difference nila sa atin ngayon, nung lockdown, yung vast lockdown, I mean, worldwide quarantine, they choose to be socially isolated for multiple reasons, actually. And pwedeng mag-coincide yung different reasons na yun. Can be from mental disorders to wanting to take a break from society, getting tired of seeing people, Or baka just wanting to spend more time with themselves muna and take a break from everything. Yung social withdrawal and isolation na
So
na-experience
this
nila. Yeah, sige, ano.
this ano yung hikikomori thing, is it like a worldwide problem or is it just in Japan?
Actually, it is not endemic to Japan. I've read some articles na the term itself is Japanese, and the Japanese people coined that term kasi sobrang rampant na sa Japan. I am not sure why, pero rampant siya sa Japan more than in any other place, as far as I know. Pero shut-ins, as would the English translation of Hikikomori would call people who shut themselves in, present din sila in Western civilizations and other Asian countries. Pero mas common lang sa Japan. Kaya they decided to make up a word for it to describe those kinds of people.
I mean, yeah, it might have some sort of like cultural significance with them. The Japanese have a lot of history with self-isolation. Uh, they only relatively recently opened trade with other countries. And I'm guessing it's like just something with their culture, something that's like endemic to the people there.
Past experiences, tas na kaugalian na nila. Or baka pwede rin yung work culture nila ngayon kasi we know na many people get overworked there. So having constant and the opposite ng sinabi ni Matt kanina, which is the white room, right? Yung white room wala kasi stimuli. That's why it's a form of torture. Now, I'm guessing na in the case of the Japanese people, masyadong maraming stimuli naman, sobra ngayon sa stimuli na it becomes torture. So people really have to find a balance between no stimuli and sobrang raming stimuli to the brain, whether it's smell, taste, sight, feeling, and hearing, yung mga ganon, your five senses. You have to find a balance in between to be able to live comfortably and be satisfied with everything around you. So it really helps to maintain relationships pa rin, even though we are undergoing a lockdown ngayon. Hanggang ngayon, and we don't know how long it will last. Hopefully, it will end. Pero yung mga bagay na little things nga na sinabi ni Theo kanina, yung appreciate everything na happening right now in your house. I mean, at least you have a house, right? Which is more than enough for you to live. You have shelter, you have 3 square meals a day, and for the vast majority of people, we still have our families to live with. So, ano lang, just don't focus on the bad. We could always veer into the positive side of things. Kasi it's the only thing that we can do. And kasi nothing will last forever. So spend time with your family for as long as you can kasi they won't be with you forever. I mean, most likely children will outlive their parents, di ba? Parang ganun.
Yeah, most
And just
people don't
remember na
really live forever.
most people don't live forever.
Yeah, most people. I mean, I thought Betty White would live forever, but no, she she died like a few weeks ago, so that's just not true anymore.
Oh yeah, guys,
But
nabalitaan niyo ba
Rest
si
in
Queen
peace, Betty White.
Elizabeth? Yeah, she's not alive anymore.
seryoso?
Oh.
Really?
Are you?
I don't believe you, James.
I
Wait,
don't believe
I
you.
don't think
Look it up.
I'm gonna check that later. That's not
Yeah.
true.
I don't
Not
yeah.
believe you,
Pero
James.
okay, back to the topic at hand. Yeah, it's important to connect with people and to maintain our connections with them. You can do that via calling them, texting, social media, just a bunch of different outlets for for interaction nowadays in the digital age.
Yes.
It's important to maintain your contact with people. And if you're feeling lonely, why not just reach out to people? It might be hard, it might be uh challenging at first to try to put yourself out there, but it's always worth it in the end. But speaking of self-help and helping others, it's also important to stay safe during the pandemic. Remember to uh, always wash your hands, keep your mask on, make sure that you don't have any symptoms for COVID, and just when you're outside with other people, make sure to stay a safe distance away in accordance with COVID-19 guidelines. And I think that's time. We're at 25 minutes.
Nice, nice,
Remember,
nice.
guys. Well, actually, before that, this is our first episode of BraInsight and our first podcast ever. So, and I think we did a pretty good job. What do
Oh
you
no,
guys?
hey.
What do you guys think? You gotta know. Let us know in the comments. We'll uh, post some of our resources in the description of the video, and just remember, we're BraInsight. Happy, happy, happy New Year. We love you very much. I'm Rafi. That's Theo, Ross, James again. Okay, bye bye.
Brainium and the cranium, preventing pandemonium. Premium show of the millennium, cerebrum exploratorium. We guarantee that this podcast is better than alright. And now we welcome you to
BraInsight.